All right guys, so now we are on the cut page. Now the main goal of this page is to allow you to quickly sift through all of your clips and create a basic sequence. You can technically edit your entire video right here in the cut page. If you're doing a super simple edit here, you can go ahead and drop your clips right in here. You can layer them, do whatever you want in here. You can even add your audio if you wanted to, right below it. So like I said, if you're doing a quick, super simple edit, you can do everything right here in the cut page, even do a quick export right up here in the top right and finish it up. The way that I use the cut page and the way that I'm going to be showing you in this video is mainly just for sifting through my raw clips and then organizing them all on my timeline so I can quickly move from that boring sifting process to the more exciting editing process, which I do on the editing page. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo what I just did. So if you watched the previous video, all the clips that we just imported on the media page are gonna be up here in the top left media pool. And what I wanna do is quickly scrub through all these clips, trim them, and then add the best ones to the timeline. And if you're using my keyboard shortcuts, which I obviously recommend, there are a few that you should know about right away. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the video folder. And if we double click on a clip, it's gonna open it right up here in the viewfinder on the top right. The shortcuts that I've created are J, K, and L, so you can quickly scrub through your clips without having to click and drag your playhead. So K is play and pause, L is fast forward, and then K is fast reverse. So I can use these shortcuts to quickly scrub through, and I don't even need to use my mouse. You'll also need to know the shortcuts I and O, which set the in and out points of the clip. So if I scrub through this clip, let's say that clip starts right about here, I can go ahead and hit I to mark my in point. You'll see that it's already trimmed that clip for me. And then I'll fast forward towards the end and find a spot where I want the clip to end. Right there maybe, and then I'll hit the O key to mark the out point. Now if I want to quickly add this trimmed clip to my timeline, I can hit the comma key on my keyboard, and it's going to place that clip on the nearest cut of wherever my playhead is located. So because I have nothing on my timeline, it just placed it right on the timeline. Let me go ahead and sift through just a couple more clips. Mark the in point right there. Out point right there. I'll hit comma one more time. So I just added this clip that I've just trimmed to the nearest cut point on my timeline. So in this case, it was at the end of this clip. So let's go ahead, just for an example, I'm gonna place my playhead right over here on the timeline. I'm gonna find the next clip. I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna play through. Maybe I want it to start right about there. Mark my in and out points, fast forward. Okay, that's gonna be the out point right there. Now if I hit comma, watch what it's gonna do. It's gonna place that clip at the nearest cut point on the timeline. So in this case, my playhead was right here by this clip, and then when I inserted that other clip, it placed it to the left of that clip because the playhead was closest to that cut right there. If I do that and if I move my playhead more over here and grab that same clip, and I'm gonna hit the comma key to insert it, it's gonna insert it after that clip because the playhead was closer to the cut right here on the right. Another shortcut you can use is actually the period. So even if my playhead is right over here, and let's say I'm still sifting through this clip, I can hit the period key, and it's automatically just gonna place my clip at the end of the timeline no matter where my playhead is. And then once those clips are on your timeline, let's say you want to kind of fine tune some of these clips once they're on there, you can also use what's called a ripple delete, which lets you quickly trim the ends of your clips. Now, I have this set up to work with the Q and the W key. So basically if I take my playhead to this point in the clip, maybe I want to trim it right at the end, just right at this point, I can hit the W key, and all it's doing is it's just trimming that little end piece. I'll hit it again, bam, just like that. So W trims the end of a clip, I'm gonna scrub over here towards the beginning. And if I hit Q, watch right here, it's going to cut the beginning of that clip right at the playhead. So the benefit of doing a ripple delete is you're trimming that excess portion of the clip, but it's also moving your clip over and filling the gap that would be there if you had just trimmed and then deleted that portion of the clip. There would be a gap in your timeline. But like I said, the ripple delete just does both of those functions in once, so it deletes and closes that gap for you. So until now, what we've been doing is we've been clicking on each individual clip and then scrubbing through, selecting our in and out points. But the way I actually like to do it is by hitting on this icon right here, source tape, which actually opens up all of your clips as if it's just one continuous piece of footage. So now I don't need to click on each individual clip. All of them are going to be organized right here on this one source tape. So these little white lines show us where those clips are actually placed. So we're going to do the same shortcuts that I just showed you. We're going to use our in and out points and our JKL shortcuts, as well as the comma or the period key. So watch this. I'm going to hit I to mark the endpoint for this clip. I'm going to hit the play button. Fast forward a little bit. Go back right there. So I'll have the clip end right there. I'll hit O, I'll hit comma, bam. I can hit the play key again with K. It's playing through. I'll hit I to mark the endpoint. I'll hit O right there. And while it's still playing, I can actually hit the comma key and it'll just keep adding it right into the timeline. I'm gonna go ahead and reverse real quick. Let's see, I'll hit K to play. Mark my in point right there. Mark my out point, hit comma again. In point right there maybe. Then out point, comma. Quickly do it for the rest of these clips. In point, out point, comma. In point, out point right there, comma. And then in point maybe. Let me scrub through a little bit. This one whips, I believe. There we go. I'm gonna have it actually start about right there. So in point, play it, out point right there. Once again, I'm gonna hit comma. Nice, that'll be a good intro clip. I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna hit I to mark the in point. Once again, hit K to play. Very nice. I'm gonna hit O, and then I'll hit comma once again. And there you go. All of these clips have been added to our timeline down below. And then once we have our clips on there, we can also color code them real quick if we wanted to. The shortcuts I have for these color codes are the number buttons at the top of your keyboard. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is above the QWERTY on your keyboard. So let's say I want to color code this clip, maybe a mango. I'll hit the number 1. You'll see it's going to change the color automatically. Maybe I want to change this to a green. I'll hit number 3. You get the idea. So now that we have a few clips on our timeline, let's look around this page just a little bit more so you can know exactly what we're looking at. So on the timeline, if we look at the top right here, we have a nice zoomed out view of what our timeline actually looks like. And then below that is the zoomed in timeline where we can see each individual clip and we can edit them directly. Up top, once again, we have our inspector, so we can hit that. This is the same functionality as what I showed in the media page. So we can go through, we can adjust our scaling, our positioning, whatever we want. We can change the blend mode. We could add some stabilization if we needed to. And in the top left, we could even add some transitions, some titles, our effects. So like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you can technically edit pretty much anything you want here in the cut page. It's really just a simplified version of the editing page with a few features that are specific to sifting through footage. And like any editing program, there's always a lot of functionality, but the average user only uses maybe 10 or 20% of that program's full capabilities, myself included. So everything I showed you is what I use on a regular basis, but there are a few other tools in here that we can briefly go over. Now, these icons right under here are basically just different ways for you to insert your clips to the timeline. The first two are actually the same as the comma and period key shortcuts that we've already used, and the rest are just more precise ways of inserting your clips. Again, something I don't really have the need for, and you most likely won't either. So just to keep it simple, we're gonna skip over that. This is the dissolve key. You can just add a quick dissolve to your clip. And this icon lets you do something similar, but it's generally for talking heads, something we're not really working with right now, but I can cover in another video. And this one over here, funny enough, is your boring detector. It'll actually tell you if a clip is being dragged on for too long. Like I said, there's just so much much functionality and one-off tools here in DaVinci Resolve. I'm always going to be showing you the ones that are the most important so that you're not overwhelmed, but you're always more than welcome to try these tools out for yourself and see what they do. In the bonus section of the course, I'll be updating it regularly with quick tutorials on how to do specific effects and tricks. But here in the editing workflow, it's meant to quickly move you through the basics and teach you what is most important. That's pretty much it for the cut page. In the next video, we're going to jump into the edit page and get into some more advanced editing techniques.